Hello everyone. Today we want to talk about Figma constraint and how it's going to be very helpful whenever you want to make a responsive web design in Figma. If you visited any website like this Adobe Creative Cloud website here, if I right click to inspect this site, you see as I begin to adjust this site, you see that the website itself begin to resize to adapt to this screen size that I've provided for it. So if you visit this site with this gadget with screen size of this kind, this is the way the element will be aligned or the element will adjust itself to be. But if you visit the site with a screen size like this, just like my screen now, this is basically what you're going to be seeing. So to create a responsive website in Figma, there are basically some factors that contributes to that, and Figma constraint is one of those main factors. So what is this constraint and how can we use it, or how can we implement it in our design? And for those that are interested in knowing the definition, I'm going to leave it on the screen. The Figma file is in the description so that you can download it and then follow along. So if you've downloaded this file and you wish to get a copy of your own so that you can, if you click on the link in the description and you wish to get a copy of the Figma file that we use, so all you can do is to click on this arrow here and look for an option that says duplicate to draft. So it will make a copy of its own so you can now be able to customize as much as you want. What I want you to do for me is to select the frame tool and then add a desktop frame like this. So once you add a desktop frame, I want you to select the shape tool and then draw a shape like this. Now you can see on this shape, if you select this guy, the container that is inside, that is the main frame, and then resize like this, okay? Nothing happens to the object inside that frame. But when you resize from this direction, the object responds trying to follow the direction, that particular direction you are resizing to. So why is this man not being affected in this side but affected in this side? Or if I escape from the bottom, you can see nothing happens here, but when I escape from the top, okay, it responds. That means the object follows the top area. Now if you select this frame like this, you can see when you select this shape like this, you can see that there is a line being attached from this man to this man. So consider this man as a chain that holds this man like this. So anytime this rectangle gets pulled from this direction, the chain draw the rectangle towards that direction. But because there's no chain affecting this man from here, if you scale from this direction, nothing happens. Okay, that means this guy, this chain here is holding this man back not to go elsewhere apart from the direction that the chain is heading to. Okay, so how is it going to be helpful? Okay, and what is even that man? This dotted line or chain or whatever you can call it, okay, is what we call constraint. To begin to customize a constraint, you are going to say you have to use the constraint panel here. Sometimes you might not see it like this, it might be hidden this way, and if you just click on this dot here called constraint, it will be expanded for you to be able to see the settings within for you to customize that particular element within a frame. Okay, so for instance, if I select this guy now, let's say I don't want the constraint to be left anymore, I can select this man and go to the horizontal constraint here and change it to right, and now you can see that you can see the way this constraint switches direction from this side. Now if I escape from this direction, you guess it, okay, it will follow that area. But when I escape from this direction, nothing happens again. Okay, so there are some other settings that are here that we might need to explore. So one of those is let's say I duplicate this man now and then put it here for an instance, and if I drag this man here and I drag this man like this, okay, if I escape from this place, you see it just is moving the element towards the right hand side. But when you select the element and change it to something like left plus right, what that means is that it's going to, okay, follow this direction and it's going to follow this direction. It's more like you are tying it here and tying it here. And whenever you force it to scale, it's going to behave like an elastic material now. So you can see it's no longer following a particular direction. So the next one we'll see is this one called center. Center, for instance, is this. If I select this guy, you can see the constraint is set to right. If I scale, it's going to go to the right direction. But when you take this man and change the constraint to center, now what it will do is that it will automatically figure out the center of this particular frame, okay, and try to be at that place no matter how you scale the frame, right? So if I scale this frame like this, you can see the objects keep being in the center. So there are still other options like scale. This scale is more like it's kind of growing actually. So if you change to scale, it's more like you want to make it grow towards the direction you are dragging the main frame to. Okay, so how can we put this into practice and get to understand it more? Okay, to understand it better, I'm going to take these guys out, and I want you to bring out the frame to, the shape to again, and make something like this. Maybe you are going to structure a website. Now that we've made a basic structure of a website, if you select this guy now and then the main frame and scale from this direction now, this is what is happening. Okay, and your own might behave maybe behave totally different from the way mine is behaving now, but I'm very sure it's not going to be as expected. So how can we begin to customize this to be the way we want it to be? Okay, so we are going to begin with the nav bar like this. So here on this one, anytime you scale the parent frame, I think it should always extend to infinity depending on the size of the frame. Okay, so what you do is to select this guy and then change the constraint here from left to this one called left plus right. So what this means is that it's going to attach itself like this whenever you scale from any direction, right? You can see this particular one is scaling because you've set it to left and right. But there's this one here. You can see if I scale like this guy is set to right. So anytime I scale from the right, I believe it should follow the right direction. So I'll switch it from go to horizontal constraint and switch it to right. So once I do that, you can see I can now be able to scale, and you can see it's moving like that. And this one as well, if I select this guy and move like this, you can see because it's already set to left, it's going to move towards that direction. Now the next one we are going to be talking about is the footer. The footer, for you to understand the way the footer should work now, is this. If I select this main frame here and then drag this man up, okay, the header is moving towards the head, right? It's moving towards the top, but the footer, instead of it to be where it's supposed to be, is now following the header up. So we want to change that. Okay, I'm going to select this background and come here to the vertical constraint and change it from top, because it's on top now. That is why it's moving to the top basically. But when you select it and then change it to bottom, that means if you move towards the top direction, it will not move again, right? But if you move it towards the bottom side, it's going to move because you set from top to bottom. Now if I take these ones as well, I'm going to change them. I can select multiple at the same time and change them from top to bottom. Now if you scale on the vertical, as you can see, it's not behaving like a real site. But if I scale this the horizontal constraint, if I scale horizontally, the horizontal constraint does not affect this guy because I've not set anything to them right now. Okay, they are currently set to left. Okay, but that is not what I want. What I want is for this one to also move to right whenever you scale from the right, and this one should move to the left whenever you scale from the right. Okay, so if I move this, you can see it's moving, but this background, the footer background there, is not moving. If you set it to center, for instance, what will happen here is that it's just going to be in the center. You can see as you're scaling, the shape just try to fit itself within the center. But that is not what you want. You want exactly what you did here on the horizontal constraint. So I'll change it to left plus right. So it's more like tying it here and tying it here, so that whenever you scale from this direction, it will just maybe make like a it will try to form like an elastic material that extend as much as you want. Okay, but this one in the center, I think if you resize, this is where it's behaving right now. Okay, it's just adapting to the center, because if you come here to the horizontal constraints, you can see it's set to the center. So this one might not really be ideal. It all depends on what you want. Let's say I want this one to grow whenever you whenever you scale horizontally. So what you do is to select this guy and then you change it to left plus right. Now if you scale, what I just did now is that if I scale from the left hand side, it's going to stretch this man, and if I scale from the right hand side, it also stretch that man. But when you want it to grow gradually, so what you can do is to change the horizontal constraint to scale. When you change it to scale, if I scale horizontally, okay, you can see it's gradually increasing in size, and not quite noticeable. Okay, but it all depends on what you want. Do you want it to grow as you extend, or do you just want it to be in the center? If you just want it to be in the center, I think the center there will just be okay, right? But for these two, what can we do now? Because I would want them to align here. So basically it's just to select this one, change the horizontal constraint to right, and then take this one and change the horizontal constraint to left already. I think it's left already. Now if you scale like this, you can see what we are having. Okay, sometimes you might be like, okay, when I scale, I think it's creating a lot of space here. Maybe we can just, we're going to treat that later on. Or maybe what we can do, let's say as you scale, you don't want this place to go out, okay? Like you just want them to be in the center. What you can also do is to select this one and this one at the same time, and then go to the constraint and set them to center. Now, if you scale like this, you can see while you scale, the object you set to the center stays in the center. But I think for now, I'm going to make this one to be right and this one to be left. The horizontal constraint on it. Okay, it should be like this. All right, now you now have a basic structure of the website. But if I scale vertical, you can see this man remains where it is. If that is what you want, then you can leave it. But let's say you want it to stretch whenever you move vertical. Okay, what you can also do is to select both of them and then go to the vertical constraint, and then you can set them to top and bottom. So what that does is that it's going to scale like this as you keep extending to the bottom, and it's going to also scale as you scale from the top as well. So, but I think this is more like a website, so it's supposed to be just at the top. So, so that you can make something like this, and it's going to be at the top. And if you have multiple elements like this, okay, I think it's going to be ideal now to make something like this. The website reviews itself. Okay, now let's make things a little bit more complicated, so we can maybe have like a better understanding of what we're talking about here. What I can do here is to have multiple elements like this. Maybe I have this one here, and I'm going to maybe make something like this and make something like this. okay, and then have something in the center. So now that I have something in the center, if you want to make it responsive, you scan, doesn't nothing much happens there. So what I will do is to select this one and then change it to left constraint so that whenever you scan, it's going to be like this. Okay, and this one, I think I'm going to set this one to right and set this one to left. But for this, I want it to scale whenever you move. I want it to scale during the horizontal scaling. So you can see if you keep extending like this, it's going to be big as much as that. Now there's another thing that I would want to show you about a text. So let's say you have this text like this. I'm going to copy this one, all right, and if I write, I'll select the text tool and click Ctrl V to paste my text. So let me give it a black color so it's going to stand out, or maybe it's going to be okay. Now this text, I can resize it. You can see it's very long, but if I resize like this, you can see the text is coming this way. Okay, basically this is not what I want. So I want to show you something about text. If you click on this text, I want to align them to be in one straight line. Just click on auto width. I'm going to align like this. As I begin to resize, the text will automatically become responsive like this. Okay, now I want to show some part of this text and hide some part of it at a particular time. What you can do is to select this text and then come to the type settings and check this one called truncate text. So truncating a text means that if I begin to resize it again, you can see it's actually adjusting just like the way it's supposed to have adjusted, but we are no longer seeing anything that is not within this text box. If you want to see more, you can expand this text box like this to see, but anything that the text box is not inside in, that is not inside the text box, sorry, it means that it's going to be hidden. But if you keep increasing the text box, it will keep showing far. Now, how do we do that? How can we implement such feature in this place? Maybe I'll take this one and make it 50 for now. Okay, and I will set this one to auto width so that it's going to be straight. Now, what I'm going to do is to select this text and then go to the type settings and then truncate text. When I truncate, I can now be able to resize this one like this. The idea is, if I extend this man, okay, you can see it's creating a lot of space here right now, and this text is not filling the gap. That means it's not showing the whole text the way it's supposed to be. Is there any way, like for the text to be able to cover this place? So is there any way this text should automatically get scaled up like this, so that it will keep on filling the gap that the constraint is leaving behind? So yeah, there's a way actually. So, and that way is to select this guy and then say from whatever it is to on the horizontal constraints, whatever it is, set it to left plus right. Now the way what you just did is that if you scale from the left hand side like this, it's going to be revealing the text, and if you keep extending, it's going to minimize, it's going to hide the text like that. So you can see we have something like this and we have something like this. If you want to have like a double line, I think that is where the text string comes in. So I'm going to review up to 2 lines like this. Okay, if you review up to 2 lines, now it's going to be showing 2 lines of text like that. Okay, so now that you've gotten the idea, let's implement whatever we've done on this particular website. Select this guy and resize like this. Look at what happened. Okay, or for instance, let's say I want to preview this website, and then I go to the prototype and then click on preview. When I preview, okay, I can click on this one to go to the presentation. Okay, everything looks nice now. You can basically scroll like this, and things is just working the way they're supposed to work. But then the nightmare will come when you accidentally go to these settings and then set it to responsiveness. Okay, sorry, responsive. Now, once you set it to responsive, you can see your site just got scattered because you never made it to be responsive. That means if you view this site, this particular design with a bigger screen anywhere, this is the alignment it's going to give you. So how do we use the constraint now to be able to make this man adapt to the screen size? So let's say we want to have something like this. Okay, let's say if I have done this one, so you can check it out with the link. So if I add a flow here and expand like this, okay, if I change this place to responsiveness, now did you see what happened? Okay, as I begin to scroll, you see it actually scrolls. And the good thing about it is that if you change it to something like an actual size, okay, it automatically resizes itself to fit into the size of the screen that you want to use it with. Okay, now let's learn how we can be able to do it with this guy. So for us to be able to achieve that, let's bring a desktop frame. Once you have added your frame, okay, I should have done the constraints with this guy, like with the design, but you might get confused, so I don't want you to get confused. So let's begin to place this element one after the other and adjust them with the constraint to be able to make it responsive. So what the first thing we do here is to select this header. So we drag out this header, you have something like this. Okay, so we need to see what is going on here so that we'll be able to know how we can be able to implement whatever that is there to suit whatever we want. Yeah, so on this guy you can see that the way it has been designed, maybe not intentional, but here we have a frame and we have auto layout, and I think this frame and the auto layout here is, we don't need them. So I'm going to select this guy and remove the auto layout by pressing Ctrl backspace. So now we just have the frame like this. So on this frame, I'm going to bring it into this place. So for now, I think I'll just reduce the color so that it's not going to be exactly the same with the background. Now when I place this guy here like this, I can use the alignment to align. Okay, if I select this, the main frame now, and scale like this, did you see what is happening? Okay, why is it happening like that? If you select this guy and go to the constraint, you can see it's set to the center. That is why whenever you scale, it just centered itself, no matter how hard you scale it. Okay, what you can do now for this particular one, you change it, select like this, and then go to the horizontal constraint and change it to left plus right, so that whenever you scale, is going to move like this, and this one is going to move like this. Okay, now you can see the background is working totally fine, but this guy, the button here, is not working well. So we select this button and then change the horizontal constraint to right. Now if you scale again, you can see it is now working well. So the next section is this particular one. So I will select these guys, this image and this image. Basically there are two images there. I'll press Alt key and then duplicate like this. Okay, if I'm going to use this man to align it exactly. Okay, you might accidentally move, so please just align like this. Okay, yeah, now we have something like that. I'm going to select this one and this one and some of these elements here. I'm holding shift by the way to select all these elements, and I'm going to duplicate like this for you to see what I want to do. That's why I'm bringing it here. You can see all of these now are just single. Okay, for the thing, for the work to be easier for us, I'm going to select this and then press Ctrl G to group them all, and then move the group in here like this. Okay, so I'm not trying to make it perfect, just want to work on the constraint. Okay, so you can decide to make it perfect and then try to align it to the best that it can be. I think I'll be very happy if you can do that. All right, now if you now select this man and scale like this, did you see what is happening? It's not cool right now. So the first thing we do is this: select this guy and then go to the constraints here and set it to left plus right, so that if anytime you scale like this, okay, you can see the background is now scaling. Very nice. Okay, what we can actually do to be able to see these changes in real time is this: if you select this frame, go to the prototype and add it a flow, launch the flow and then present it, then check this man to responsiveness, responsive, and minimize this guy, and yeah, we are good. Okay, you can decide to hide the UI, or maybe, yeah, let's hide the UI so that it's not going to be distracting. Remember the shortcut Control Slash. Yes. Now if you come back to your design like this, okay, what you can notice here is that if you go back to the preview, you see the text aligned here, but here is now creating a dead space. So what do we do? What you can do now is to select this guy and then go to design and change the constraints to right. So if I go to the preview, now I can see it's not left aligned, sorry, right aligned. But we are not having a lot of space here that I don't think we are going to need. So how do we fill it up? Well, the way we can fill it up is to select this text here and then set the constraint to left plus right, so that anytime this man moves, it's going to expand like this. So watch, if I click and preview, can you see the body text now is extending to fill up the gap as much as possible as it can here. So that is that area. I think if there's any other thing you want to do, maybe you can begin to do it. Like, let's say you want to make this one to be this, okay, like this area, for instance. If you set it to maybe let's set it to center now, so you see what will happen. It will just jump to the center. But when you set the constraints to left, I think it's going to be left. Then when you set it to left and right, okay, I think it's going to look nice. But where it will not look nice is this: if you select this main frame and resize like this, okay, it will start breaking. It might start breaking when it's not supposed to break. Okay, but if that is what you want, you can go for it. Now these guys are not adapting to like whenever you resize this frame, they get overlap. Okay, this particular tutorial is not with auto layout. Okay, maybe we are going to create a video on how to use the auto layout and the constraint to achieve whatever you want. Now we just want to focus on your design adapting to a bigger screen, or being able to respond depending on the way the things are placed. So with auto layouts, you cannot be able to make it not overlap and all of that. So the next section is this particular side here. I'm going to duplicate it and then put it here. I will align like this, and then if you go to the preview, okay, is it nice? Is it cool? I don't think it's cool. This place, I'm having empty area here and I'm having empty area. If that is what you want, you can go for it. But if you select this guy, you can actually set it to left plus right, and now you can see it's extending, and I think you can still scroll sideways like this. So the next section is this area. So I'll select this one, this, and this, and I'll duplicate like this. Okay, so I just want to place it exactly the way I want, and select this frame, extend it like this. So I will select these three like this and align, and I will select this guy and align as well. Now if you go to the constraint and scroll, wow, a lot of things are happening. So how do we adjust? Let's say first of all is this particular one here, we want it to be left. Is that one working well? I think this one is perfect. Okay, but the background is not, and that is because the background is supposed to be left plus right, and now if you go, you can see the background is filling up the area, but this one is not the best in the world. I think what you can do, if you set this one to right and set this one to left, okay, and view it. Oh, okay, this one shifts to this direction and this one shifts to this one. I'm creating this empty area space here. Basically what you can do to avoid this space is to select both all of this, select this image and this text, and I will align to the top so that go there, and then select three of them, and then go to the horizontal go to the horizontal constraint and make it to the center, so that whenever you preview, you can see your element is not centered. Okay, but this one is now going to be design error. So what we can do to them is select this guy and also make it to be center like this, and now you can see they are starting they are actually on the same alignment like this. Okay, so the next section is this one as well, just like a similar stuff. So I'm going to duplicate, sorry, so I'll select this guy and this guy and duplicate like this. Okay, now what you do is to take this one and try to align it exactly the way it should be, like this. Okay, now if you go to the constraint, if you view the prototype, oh, it's everything is aligned left and it's not looking nice now. What you do is to let both of them, all of them like this, and then set the constraints to center basically, and to be centered like that, and you can see the design is looking nice. Okay, let's do the other side. This one like this, like this, like this, and then I'm going to take this guy, set it to this there. Okay, and I'm going to set this one to left plus right, that is the background, left plus right, and I'll set this and this, and the image itself, I think the whole word and the image should be aligned to the top, and I'm going to bring this one up a little bit. Now select the three of the eye element there and then change your constraints to center. So now you now have things like this. Okay, all right, now the next one is this particular section. I'll select this, and this, and then this one and the background as well. I will duplicate to move them like this. Okay, so select the background and make sure it's aligned to the center, and then set the constraints to left plus right, and set this one to let's make them center. So I'll select this and this and the image as well, and I'll make it center. Okay, and I think I'm going to resize this. Okay, and if you view, it's not centered. Very well, very perfect, and very cool. Okay, now the next one is this section here. It said the customer what our customer thinks. So I will duplicate that section and move it to something like this. And I'm going to set this guy and to the center. But then if you review, okay, so this is not the best in the world now. What you can do is to select this guy and select this particular one. You're going to set it to left plus right, so that it's going to fill the space as much as it can. And this one should be left because it's going to be the title there is going to be left. Can you see what you're having now? And then you can be able to scroll like this, which is pretty cool. Okay, so the next one is this section here. I'll duplicate this and this and this and the background as well, and move them like this. Select the background and make sure it's aligned, and select this one. Okay, what we can do on this is to maybe resize it as much as we want. Okay, then we can now select them. Let's preview to see the way they are aligned. Oh, this is a lot. This is weird. Okay, let's begin with the background. We set the background to left plus right. Let's preview. Okay, it's working well now. So we can decide to make this on left aligned and then, or maybe centered. Let's try centered, like these items. Select all of them and then set to center. When you set center, okay, everything will just be centered like this. Is that what we want? If it's what we want, then we can go for it. But let's say I set this one to left. Okay, it's not set to left. But these guys, what can we do if you want them to fill up the areas? What we can do is to select this guy and then set it to left plus right. And if you select like, oh, it's aligned to the left right now. Okay, I want this guy to be able to fill the container. So I'll click here and make sure that this man is set to fill container, because this is an auto layout. Like this element there, they are auto layout. So if I select this one and this particular text here, make sure it's fill container, and this one, everything here fill container, and this particular text, okay, they should all be fill container like this. Now we are combining auto layout with the constraint to create something much more interesting. Okay, you preview, you can see because you set them to fill container and set the constraint to left plus right, as it's stretching, all of these ones start getting stretched. So the good thing about this particular one is that if you select the main frame and resize like this, you can see the text now is also adapting to the changes there, which is pretty cool. Now the next one is this section here. You select this guy, and this one and this one. Duplicate and move like this. I'm going to set this guy to something like this. Select these two. Oh, I do not have the video icon there. I think I can just Control C and then just Control V like this. Okay, you can just basically select these two, Control G to group, and select this one, Control G to group like this. Alright, now I'm going to select these three and left align. So if you preview the bigger screen of this particular section, let me align like this. So this one is getting a little bit cool. So if you preview, oh, it's not nice, it's not nice. What can we do? We can decide to select everything and make sure the total constraint is set to center. So by so it will now be like this. What if we can do more by setting this guy to this text like this? We set them to left plus right, and then set this image to right. Okay, now if you see, these guys will be extending like this. Maybe that is what you want. Yeah. Okay, but if you decide, maybe it's just you knowing the design of the layout that is best for your design. Because if I set all of them to center like this, you see, they are just aligned to the center. To me, I think I'll prefer the center one. But to the uh, for everybody, let's set this one to right, so that it will be aligned this way, and this one should be able to stretch to fill up the cap. Okay, so if I set the constraint to to left plus right, and you can see it will extend like this. If you set this guy to just left, you see the text will now be aligned left side, and the image will be aligned, creating this empty space here, which is not good in your design. So I'm going to say left plus right, so that it's going to expand, which is pretty much more understandable. Now I'm going to go to the next screen, which is a little bit interesting. So here, a lot of elements have come into play here to make the design possible. We have this, and we have this, and this, and this. So I'm going to select this man, and this guy, and this guy. Okay, and I will duplicate. So just the text and the 2023. Then I'll duplicate this, an image. So basically I'll duplicate the image like this. I think I'm going to make this 2023 come up by pressing right bracket key, so that is going to be at the top like this. So it's just basically to resize and duplicate this one to this side, and duplicate the text like this. Okay, so if you preview the constraint there, everything is looking weird. Okay, what you can do is to select the background, make the constraint, horizontal constraint, to be left plus right, so it will stretch to fill up that gap. Then the next one is this image itself. The image to also be set to left plus right. Okay, when you set the image from left plus right, it's going to be weird like this. Okay, this is not what I want. It's not looking nice. So what I can do is to select the image and make sure it's set to center, and then if you preview, you can see it's set to center right now. Yeah. Okay, so the next thing you can do, because when you preview now, you can see the text are not on the image again. What you can also do on the text is to select this particular one, and basically anyone you want to change. Set the horizontal constraint to center. Okay, I'll just select these two at once and set them to center. Now if you preview, you can see your design is looking quite cool. Yeah, awesome. Okay, then for this text, the text is not aligned, that is this background text here. I will set it to center. Now if you preview, you can see your design is cool. All right, then I'm going to move to the next session, which can be a little bit tedious. Now what I will do here is to try to organize these guys the way I want. If you watch, you can see there's an image in the background, so I'll select it, and there's a shape with a reduced opacity. So I'll basically select the image and then select the shape and duplicate like this. So remove them here and try to align them to both of these, and select this guy, extend like this. Okay, so now if you preview, oh, it's not looking nice. So what can we do? Select the two items, that is both the image and the shape, and change them to left plus right. Now if you preview, you can see it's looking nice. Okay, but it's very small, so I can select both of them and resize like this. Just add it more. So the next one is this text. I will select and I will duplicate, align the text exactly where we want, and I'm going to resize it like this, and then put it somewhere here. The next one is this section here. So I will duplicate like this, and this section I'm going to duplicate as well. Okay, so let's see how it's looking now. If you select, you can see, oh, this yeah. What you can do is select this guy and set it to left plus right, and set this one to left plus right as well, so that it's going to follow along. Oh, okay, maybe it might be good like this, but it's not the best. How about we set it to the right? Okay, but my fear, the empty space is going to be in the center. Okay, what we can do is to basically select them. If you can make it to the center, and this one. Because of these guys here, I'm going to, it's not properly aligned. So I think what I can do here is to resize this one a little bit like this and move it to the direction, and take this one, and this one. Okay, you'll come to this gap here, gap in between them. There's something like 20, so that we are going to give each other 20 pixels of gap. So I'll make this guy and this one like this. Okay, now I will align like this. Okay, so you can see we are beginning to get things more complicated now, because if you preview, it's not looking nice. I think the best way you can do this is to select them all, the text, and then just put them in the center. Yeah, basically. And I think we can go with something like this, I think. Okay, or maybe what you can do is to make this one to stretch, and then set all these ones to left instead of center, set them to left, so that if you preview, I think it's better looking like this now. Okay, yeah, that is cool. Then this side, this is where it might get a little bit interesting. So here, this place is the last point there. So I'll move it all the way to this section, and then click here and resize this one like this. Okay, now if you preview, yeah, you can see it now. It's not the best in the world. Okay, what you do is to select this guy and give it a left plus right, so that it will be able to fill the background like that. Can you see that? Okay, left plus right, so that it will fill up the empty areas. Okay, now we can see, I think I'm done with this guy. I cannot change it back to white. Yeah, so if you come here, you see, okay, there are some interesting things about on this website that we might need to take account of, like this place, whenever you scroll, it stays static. So how can you achieve something like that? So we'll go to the prototype, select this guy, then go to the prototype and make it to the sticky, or maybe fixed. Let's use sticky. So once you do sticky, like if you scroll now, okay, what is happening there? You can see this sticky is not responding. This one is meant to stay until everything should go low. So what you should notice that for this man to look to be nice, or maybe to be able to perform the things you have in mind, okay, What you can do is to select it and then right click and say bring to front. Bring to front. When you bring to front, and then make sure it's sticky again and go to your prototype. Now you can see the header now is now sticky like that. Okay. Yeah, I think that is basically it. Another thing, when you go to the website, this one is showing, and the last point here is also showing that the end of the footer here. Okay, so this section is showing, like, that is, this section is static, and the header, the nav part there is also static. So what we can also do on this one is, instead of sticky, we are going to change it to fix. And once you change it to fix, you go to preview. Oh, now I'm supposed to be seeing it at the bottom here, but I cannot. And the worst thing is that it has even disappeared. Yeah, I think with this, it's going to. I want you to understand something. Because I set this one to fix. Watch, if I remove it to fix and set it to scroll with parents, just like the initial settings, you can see it's still there. Okay, but once I change it to fix, it will jump out. Why is it jumping out? Okay, watch. For it not to jump out, you need to make sure that the constraint is, instead of top, let it be bottom. Okay, now if you go to the website again, you can see it's now there. Maybe we are not seeing whatever that is happening here. Okay, because it's transparent. Okay, what we can do is to bring up a shape like this, and then check this color that is here. Okay, and if you select this one, you can see that the color is reduced to 70%. Okay, what we will do is that we take this color picker and then pick this particular color that is here. Okay, so that it's going to be 100% now. Now if you preview again, you can see, if I scroll now, you can see it's there, and it's no longer transparent, and it's having the color that it's supposed to have. And okay, so, or basically here is staying and here is staying. So if you want to visit the website, I'm going to leave a link in the description so that you can see if it's the way the website is behaving, that this one is behaving. Although on the website you are going to see animation, and then when we get to animation, we might add those pretty cool animation that the website has on this design in Figma. So now, where can this thing come in play? Watch, if you go to now that we've set all the constraints the way we want them to be, if you go to the presentation mode now, and then you want to bring out your menu, how do you bring them back? Remember the shortcut control / there. So bring out these menus. Now if you click here and set this one to actual size, you can see the elements automatically adjust to the actual size. Just watch this menu. If you take this one to responsive or fit width, for instance, okay, let's use responsive. Did you see the element here adjust? And if you set it back to fit width, and it's going to adjust like that, and every other thing as well adjust. Look at this place, it's now very perfect. These areas like this. Okay, let's try to inspect this this site the way you can inspect other websites out there. The way to inspect it, I think it's just to minimize Figma, for instance. Yes, when you minimize Figma like this, and then you begin to resize this same file. Okay, can you see as I'm extending, can you see everything is adjusting? Okay, don't worry about the overlapping, it's because we did not use auto layout. So combining auto layout with the constraint is going to give you a something exactly the way every website behaves there. So the idea here is for you to understand how to use constraints, when to use it, and when not to use it. Basically, I think you'll be using it most times whenever you want to do responsive web design. Okay, now there are some common issues that everyone do have within your design that this constraint is the only solution for it. For instance, if you let me give you a pro tip now. If you come here, let's say I add a flaw in this design, and if I preview here, okay, let me just if I click on the nothing that is on the viewport here, I can change this device to iPhone 16 for instance. Then you can see this man is now set to iPhone 16. So I can be able to scroll up like this, but you can see my menu is not here. Like I cannot see this one. No, let's see. Okay. Let's say by default it's going to be few. Let's do something like this. Okay. By default it's going to be here. You have to scroll to see it's a nav bar. Okay. The nav bar needs to be static, right? So what we can do is to select this nav bar and then go to the scroll behavior and then change it from scroll point to fix. And once you set it to fix, you can see it disappear. Now this is one of the main issue that you can that we all do face. So and it's only constraint that can solve that problem. Why did it disappear? It disappeared because you set it to fix and the constraint here, the vertical constraint is saying top. If you want it to come back, just change the vertical constraint, select this guy, change the vertical constraint to bottom, and it will be back now. Now if you scroll and your element is good. Sometimes due to the internet, when you change it to bottom, you might not see the changes, so you might need to preview again, that is cancel that one and preview like this. So you can click on shift space bar to launch the preview again. This is where we are going to be stopping today. In the next session we are going to be creating responsive web design with auto layout, just like requested by one of my subscribers. I decided to go with constraint first because I feel like you need to understand the concept of constraints so that when we begin to combine it with auto layout, it's not going to be confusing. So stay ready and expect the next one to come in because it's going to be more interesting and it's going to be cool. You're going to design an actual website that is ready for development and make it responsive. And we are going to also make breakpoints too, like different alternative of making your site responsive. You understand breakpoints and then you understand more of auto layouts and constraints combined as well. So if you've not subscribed, I encourage you to do so, please. Bye.